Welcome. You're tuned into Life is a Sacred Journey. Every week, we bring a new perspective to aging and caregiving. Here is your host, Michelle Pope.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey. I don't know I've had this problem now for over a week where my computer is taking more than 45 minutes to boot. And I got here early this morning in preparation, but it still didn't boot. So, I think it's dying, and I'm gonna tomorrow, because I made a pact that I'm not spending any money today, but I will replace my computer over the weekend because I can't take it anymore. And good morning, Audrey. How are you, my sister? How are you?
So good, so good. And it is so lovely to spend this Friday morning with you. I've been looking forward to it for so long.
I have too. And I want you to stay on after so that we can get on each other's calendar.
Yes.
Been running and been so busy that I've neglected to get back to you. And I want to make that happen before 2024 just kind of on us.
Isn't it amazing how it goes so fast?
All right, friends, I want to first of all ask you to take a deep breath and center. Yesterday was an incredible day for me, and I know for a lot of you it was, but I also know for some of you it was not. So let's just take a deep breath and center ourselves. The chaos of computers not loading, the chaos of maybe the turkey not being done on time and people were waiting, or the chaos of rushing around and forgetting what this holiday season is all about. Just to slow down. Take a deep breath in and blow out. To be grateful. Take another deep breath in and blow out. And to live in the silence a little bit. So I'm going to shut my mouth in this next deep breath in, and you blow out when you're ready. I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Take a deep breath in. All right. Good morning, dear siblings and friends and family. I want to welcome you to another gathering, and we call these gatherings and circles of love of Life is a Sacred Journey. It is so great to be here, to have another Friday with you at 8 a.m. So what I would like to do right now is introduce you to someone who you should be familiar with, but you may have forgotten. And her name is Audrey White. She is the CEO of the Grief Coach Academy, and we met her not too long ago and asked her to come back during this season because we realized, I know I'm going through it. Yesterday, for a quick moment, I had a moment of grief, and all the joy that was going on around me, I got very sad and melancholy. But then, I got around it and moved on. But it's to say that that's okay. And I asked Audrey to come back to talk to us a little bit about this thing that we're coining the holiday blues. And there's songs about it and people go through it. But it talks about, I looked it up to see kind of the origin and when we began kind of talking about this. And it started happening in a place where medical professionals, mental health professionals, Audrey, started talking about it in this way. It was more like in the 80s and 90s. And we could see a shift in what the holiday season meant. One, the blue laws were taken down, and so things were open during the holiday. Like you could go shopping, you could spend money, you could go out and do things that normally you could not do, that they were all confined to the home, all confined to being with friends and family, and it became more of a capitalistic kind of way from actually from Halloween on. And we can
Yes.
see that now, where you can go into a store. I did. I went into Lucky's right before Halloween and the Christmas trees were up. So, so it's kind of weird. You're just like, okay, did I miss something? And they said it began to manifest itself because people had a harder time of managing their mental health and their losses during a time that was a glorious time in the past. And now they were beginning to focus on more on their losses than what they were getting out of the season. So it's sort of like the movie It's a Wonderful Life being lived out, where we don't see our worth during that time when people are saying, hey, happy holiday. I mean, people are interacting more. So I'm so glad you're here, because I think what I experienced yesterday was the beginning of many moments between now and January 2nd of 2024. And so as you are living out your purpose, and you're a grief coach, I mean, you've seen this happen. And so talk a little bit about it from your perspective. And again, a warm hug to you, and thank you for coming back. And I'm looking forward to meeting you in person before 2024, for sure.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm so honored to be here and to be talking with you and to this community, because the holidays are a hard time, and they can be. They really can be. And I've been thinking a lot about, we just went through Thanksgiving, this day of gratitude, right? And this day of Thanksgiving, and how we end up holding both grief and gratitude. It's like we hold it in both hands, and we have to expand enough to be able to really hold both.
Yeah.
Where yes, we can be grateful and in that moment of joy with family and friends. Or for me, I spent a day of solitude, which was really amazing. And then that idea of grief. And I think the holidays, and what I've seen is that the holidays bring up this melancholy, right? The way things used to be. This you're tapping into traditions, maybe as traditions of different foods that you had, and it brings back these thoughts and these memories. And then we can get stuck there. And that's this, I think, balance that we have to keep during this moment. And you were talking so eloquently about the whole, how this shifted.
Yeah.
Because we did have time. This was a time when we did gather, when we did have, there wasn't anything else to do. We had to entertain ourselves, and we were in this together.
Yes.
And now it has become this time of, commercialism. Like you said, we're pushing ourselves out, and we have to do this, and we have to do this. And we're missing, I believe that we truly are missing this quietness and this quiet time for introspection, the quiet to just be together without having a purpose, right? When the dinner's all done and the everything is taken care of and cleaned up, we were still always together. I remember as a kid, like we would just hang out, and the kids would be doing something, the adults would be over here, but we're still just in this together. And we're missing that time.
Yeah, we are.
I truly think our souls are missing that time. And trying to kind of, I think we're really longing as a society, we're longing and we're searching for, how do we bring this back? How do we find a balance now? And, we go through these swings in life, right? And we talk about balance. I don't know that there's ever a thing called balance.
I was gonna say, and I don't know if we are describing it in a way that's healthy when we speak of balance, because it's just like a scale. It may teeter at a balancing moment, but it's always moving like this.
Always.
Yeah.
Because things are calling to you, or life is calling. There's responsibilities that we have to do. And so we're shifting. But and I think the balance comes in from being able to do it with grace and shifting between one aspect of ourselves and another is having that grace. And, I've talked about this before when I was on,
Yeah.
it's our thoughts, right? It's our thoughts that get us tripped up.
Mhm.
And I saw something recently, I think it was Michael Beckwith had something on his a video on his social media.
Social media.
Yep. And it was talking about how living in the past prevents us from really experiencing the present. And it can provide this, this barrier for experience, this barrier that brings up everything because we want what we had. We want what we used to have.
Yeah.
And we're missing these gifts in the moment.
Mhm.
And that's what I really, invite your listeners and invite you and I, because we all get tripped up in it, right?
Mhm.
But to go, all right, well, you said you had a moment. Great, take that moment. Feel what you feel and honor those feelings because it's so important.
Yes.
It's so important to take that time and honor what you feel. It's all valid.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then maybe put a time limit on it so
Yeah.
you don't get stuck. And it sounds really artificial to do, right? To go, all right, well, for 5 minutes or for 15 minutes, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to excuse myself from the busyness of the day or the busyness of whatever, find a quiet spot and feel. And it's, I we all miss our, something from our past. There's this longing, especially when we've lost someone,
Mhm.
or if we're caregivers,
Yeah.
we miss who they used to be or how our lives used to be. And it's okay to feel that. I mean, we have to honor that part of us.
That's real. That's real.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And then, you know, understand that this is now.
Yeah.
And there really is this present that comes with being here now.
And it's
Um,
waiting. It's the present,
yes.
when you said that the way you just said it, I'm thinking of the Sankofa bird, the African Sankofa bird. And if you probably have seen it where the bird is facing back but walking forward. So
Mhm.
you're always bringing your past with you, but you've got to keep moving in a forward trajectory in order to one heal from the pains of the past, but also to live into the joys of the past
Yes.
because they are present always. They're always
Yes.
present, right? And the
Absolutely.
bird is the representation of that. And I think that is absolutely magnificent because in a culture where things were happening that weren't good and even now to this day,
Yeah.
looking at both sides of the coin means we're not ignoring it, but we're also going to move. We're going to keep moving because isn't there healing in the movement? Is
Absolutely. I mean, I used to teach Nia, and Nia is a movement form, um, very mind, body, spirit, right? And so we talk a lot about moving energy and how how it gets stuck in our bodies. Like if we anything, and we talk about it, like anything repressed is stays stuck in our body. If it's not expressed, it's repressed.
Mhm.
And so that movement, not only of like our physical movement can help with that, moving the energy through us, um, taking a walk. How do we move back to center? And this is really what it is for me. And I've been really playing with this idea lately of how to move back to center, because we're either reaching to the past where, and this is a perfect time because we always talk about our traditions and what
Yes.
we're recreating this uh, we're recreating that moment of the past or the feeling of the past, um, and that's beautiful. but how do we come back to center? Or we're reaching forward to create something or wanting something here. And how do we get back to center? And so a lot of that, these techniques of grounding, how do we ground ourselves here? How do we feel into our body? And it's sometimes it's just like tapping, like, okay, I'm here. For me, I love to go lay on the ground,
Me too. And
Um,
I love clouds. I think clouds are amazing. Yeah.
yeah. And those techniques of just, where's our center?
Mhm.
And where's our physical center? How can I be present in this moment? Where is our emotional center? Where is our spiritual center? And that is reaching into community. It's reaching into family, and really being present with someone, allowing yourself, there's all this stuff that's going on, but how can I just be present with you today? How can I be present with your community? How can I be in this moment? And who is it that I want to be in this moment is really a big question.
And that to me is a very powerful statement, friends. And those of you that are on, hit the share button, call other people. This is a very important conversation, because if you're a care partner and you're experiencing these losses all the time, those losses begin to feel like they feel like they've become a way of living.
Mhm.
But I think what Audrey and I are speaking of is moving beyond those moments and to look, I call it flipping the script, and look for that thing that is the good in it. And that's hard because it's such a hard thing, particularly if you're dealing with dementia, Alzheimer's, mental health, where your loved one is one way one moment and the next way in the very next second, possibly. But you're the one that is in control of your thought process about it. And I have learned, Audrey, and I'm still working on this, friends. Please let you know. I'll be working on this for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
I will be anyway. To stop in the moment and to say, and for me, I close my eyes and I go, okay, Michelle, what part of this is really real for you? What part of this is an old tape that is playing? And what part of this do you want to take into the next second, the next moment? If it's not real, do you really want to carry it in my head? And then when I do that, and nobody sees me do this, sometimes I have to go to the bathroom, I sit on the toilet. I'm just going to be real with you, friends. I go somewhere away from folks, and it's a quick moment so that I can get back to my center. Because when my hurt mind, the little girl that keeps peeking at me from around the corner that was hurt, she doesn't go away just because I've had therapy. She's still there. And every once in a while, she gets poked. And then she is like, you've been neglecting me. I need to come out again and show my pain. And I'm like, no, we're not in pain anymore. Does that make sense, Audrey?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, I love that you talk about your little girl. Mine comes out every once in a while too. And it's okay. Those moments when we're triggered or something's going on, it's going to happen. Like, we're still human. We're in this body. And and life brings us these experiences of pain, of loss,
Yes.
of grief,
Yes.
of melancholy.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
How do we want to
Anger,
walk through it?
right? Doesn't
Oh
anger
God, absolutely.
this?
And I think anger is a hard one, especially around the holidays,
Yeah.
because it's the season of light, it's the season of joy, it's the season of gratitude, it's this. And how do you reconcile your anger?
Right. Right.
It's okay to be angry. And I think we as women, as caregivers, we,
Yep.
Men or women in that caregiving role, we're denied our anger. And it's so important to feel it.
Yes.
Again, give yourself, I'm going to do this for 10 minutes, or I'm going to do this for 15 minutes. It's okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Do what you need. Like,
Do what you need.
scream, write, take a baseball bat to pillows if you need it. You know? I was with my daughter in Rhode Island recently, and we went to a smash room or a rage room where it was 15 minutes with, you're all masked up, right? With baseball bats and crowbars and breaking bottles and plates and just getting everything out. It was amazing.
Isn't it amazing? I've done that with plates, with I've done it with children in therapy, but then I did it when I was dealing with cancer. I did it and I visualized the cancer being the plates, and I put them in a you know, in a bag first, and then in a plastic bag, and I went to work on that.
Yes.
And
there's
I
something
disintegrated
about
those plates. They were powdered by the time I was done, but I felt better.
Yeah. There's something about that where, you know, go to a garage sale, whatever, pick up some old plates from somebody that's getting rid of them, break them, like, because it's this whole thing of like, you're breaking apart inside. So let's break something outside. Let's get it out of you.
Yes.
So that you can come back in and be peaceful again and find that peace and honor that little girl or that little boy who is screaming to go, I'm hurting right now. And in that moment, you can take a breath and go, I hear you and I acknowledge you. And we are going, and I promise that I have your back, that I am in control, that you are safe, that we are safe.
Yes.
And I will give you that time in a moment, because you can't necessarily step out to deal with your inner child right there.
Right.
But you can give it 15 seconds to go, I hear you, I acknowledge you, and I have you. I have you.
That's the whole, that's the whole place. That's the wholeness place where we get to, when we can say that without feeling like that's saying we have multiple personalities and all of that, because what we're speaking about is the essence of our life experience. It leaves, it's like incense or these candles. I will blow them out, but for a couple of hours after, you're going to smell them. There happen to be sage and Palo Santo to cleanse my air. But at the end of the day, that's going to be here long after the candles are off and I'm gone. So that's how our life. It's that we leave the essence of our experiences in the room with other people. Audrey, I want to bring you to this because this is important. I was thinking about this yesterday and thinking about our conversation this morning. And I have shared with you offline that I'm living into an experience where I see people who see themselves as victims of pain, right?
Yeah.
And there's always 40 million sides to a story.
Yes, there is.
There really is. There is. And once you become, and I'm not putting anybody down, but once you begin to unravel your own life and be the change, you begin to see that it is not just the black and the white. In living in the yin and the yang is a whole bunch of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
You study it. All right. So when a person or persons feel so victimized that they can't move to a place of forgiveness or doing what you and I just talked about, that's grief, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And, you know, to kind of backtrack just a little,
the
idea of living from our trauma, you know, and we have grief over what we should have had, right? What should have been. And that's legitimate grief. That's legitimate loss. And, you know, this idea of telling, it's how we tell our story of our life.
Yes.
We talk about this story of our life, and I did it for years as being the victim of, sexual abuse when I was a child, of being a child of a father who was an alcoholic, right? I told that story from a point of victimhood because I didn't know I had a choice. I didn't know I had a choice of looking at my story and saying, yes, this happened, and I came through.
Yes.
And I survived. And this is what the gifts that it gave me.
Yes.
One, it gave me this ability to have compassion and understanding for people. And I now see the victimhood of my aggressor, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because it doesn't happen in a vacuum.
Right.
It doesn't happen. There's this long history in our lives, in our history, in our ancestry, in this society
DNA
of victimhood. Oh my God, we carry so much generational grief and generational trauma.
Yep.
And here's the point that I've really gotten to is, do I want to carry that forward? Do I want my children to be victims of this? Or do I want to stand up and make that change? And for the longest time, it's this whole idea of, who am I to do this? This idea of self-worth but we're living in this moment.
Yeah.
It's ours to take. It's ours to have that control. It's ours to tell our story from a point of a hero's journey. Because you know what? You're still standing. You are still here. You are still moving forward. Life is moving you forward.
Oh my God. Yes. And
it,
you're better because and I know in the moment, last week I disclosed that I had been unsheltered for the first time in a public setting. I had never shared that in a public setting ever. And that it was only a week in my life, so it's not in nothing compared to people who are living this experience year after year in their lives. And I had the ability to what do they call it? Couch surf after 2 days. I did sleep in Central Park for 3 of the week. And I remember feeling so alone and so victimized by the experience. Now, let's fast forward 40 something years from that experience. It has taught me so much, and the empathy that I now have for people who are unsheltered, I understand it can happen just like that. That it doesn't have to be their fault. It doesn't have to be anybody's fault. It happens because life dumps its crap on you every once in a while, and then you don't have the tools, whether it be the tool be money, whether the tool be time, whether the tool be whatever it may be, to move it forward in that moment. And wow, I'm going to tell you, that just manifested. I didn't even know it till recently how it has manifested itself in my life in a way that I will never turn my back or victimize an unsheltered person because of that 7-day experience. And that's all it really was. And at the time I was in my 20s, I didn't really think very much of it, to be honest. But now that I see people who are unsheltered, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have ended up in, oh my gosh. So
it's,
go ahead. Yeah.
I just, that just reminded me that we think everybody's so different. That's not us. That's not us. And the thing is, we have these experiences that bring us back to, that's me, that's us, that's all of us. And having that compassion for someone else, having that understanding of, and still seeing their wholeness and their humanity and who they truly are versus what society tells us they are. Right.
Yeah. Right.
But
doesn't the compassion start from inside of oneself first?
Absolutely. Like it's this idea of giving yourself that grace. And I talk about it in terms of grace. I do this with myself. I do this in my relationships. Where is the grace? Because we're all going to mess up. We're all going to have those moments of regret, saying something, doing something, reacting in a way, and to go, in that moment, that was the best I could do because all this was going on. And I dropped the ball on that and I didn't follow through on that, or I said something I shouldn't have because I was, and to go, take a break, take a breath. Wow, that I could have done better.
Yeah.
How do I do better next time? Who do I want to choose to be? And having that compassion to go, this moment doesn't have to define me. It's a moment. But we all have those times in our lives when we wake up and we go, what dream am I living in? How did my life get to this point?
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Where it's like, how is this my life? And, I did that, when my brother was killed, right? How is this my life? I'm sitting here. It's almost like you split from reality for a moment to step outside and go, I'm talking to lawyers and I'm talking to the sheriff's department and I'm doing all these things. How is this my life?
That's how is this me?
Caregivers who are caring for people who through cancer, through Alzheimer's, through dementia, through mental health issues. How is this my life? And to go, okay, well, this is what it is. So this is my life.
Yeah.
And I think we're always driven to feel better, right? We want to feel better. None of us want to hurt and stay in that hurt. We just don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're lost in this pit. And I think this is where one of the things that we really work on at the Grief Coach Academy is like throwing down that lifeline or shining a light to go, here's a way out. Let's take it one step at a time. Just let's work on our thoughts, because this is where we create our pain.
So
There's
talk about the Grief Coach Academy, because we're going to run out of time. So I want folks to be able to contact, because I see that there are things happening over this. You're really
we're revamping, we're getting everything together and rebranding. It's exciting. It's times of change and growth, right? And so at the Grief Coach Academy, we really work with people who themselves are going through loss, and it could be the loss of a loved one, it could be the loss of a life that you thought you should have had, it could be these consecutive losses, especially when you're going through, like for your caregivers who are in this, they're experiencing loss every day of what was yesterday, what was possible yesterday may not be possible today. Mm-hmm. So it's this consecutive grief that I think a lot of us are going through. And one of the things that we work with people in the Grief Coach Academy is, one, there's coaching available, but there's also training to become a coach. And this is a process that even if you don't think you're going to be a coach, I didn't think I was going to, to go through this. I was going through it for my own self and for my own grief that I was experiencing. But there's something magical that happens during a 12-week process of going through a training to be in a community, to be focused on yourself, be focused on your own healing process, learning skills that you can help yourself and help others. And who knows where that journey is going to take you.
Yeah.
So there's videos that your community can tap into. And one of the things that they'll learn on those videos is something we call the peace process. And we talked about it the last time.
Yeah, you and I, yeah.
And this idea of finding peace and this process of really looking at our thoughts. How do we take a thought that's causing us pain? This happened to me. I'm really angry at. That sense of victimhood. We can really work on that to go, where is this what else could be possible?
Yes.
And it's a simple 5-step process. Present moment, express your feelings, accept or appreciate. What is the contrary? And then where's your enthusiasm? And that idea of what it does is train your brain to let go of a belief that we've held, because that belief that we're the victim is something that we're just believing, right? It's just a thought.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean that it's right or wrong, good or bad. It's just a thought. It could be true or false. It's just a thought.
Mhm.
And our thoughts can change. If we've ever like watched our thoughts for a moment, you know there's another one coming. But we're not taught how to intentionally
Yeah.
change our thought. And that's one of the things that we work with in the Grief Coach Academy is how do I change my thought from victim to hero? What is there? Where's a step? Maybe I can't get to hero. Maybe I can just get to survivor. Maybe I can just get to there's another possibility. But how can I let go of this painful thought? How can I let go to see that there's another possibility? Like you said, there's 40 different, viewpoints of the truth.
Yeah.
What is the truth? The truth is something that sets me free. What
Mhm.
sets me free feels good. So
Mhm.
how do I find a thought that feels good? How do I find a thought
Wow.
that makes me feel powerful and present
Mhm.
and let go of that victimhood? We can let go of that story and rewrite it because everything is happening right now.
Yes. Yes.
And so that coming back to center, and that's one of the things that we really talk about at the Grief Coach Academy. How do we come back to center? How do we allow ourselves this time? And I think this is really important too. It's such a gift to give yourself this time and this intention of healing. We come together, we meet weekly. A new training will be starting after the first of the year.
Mhm.
And we do weekly calls. We have a community that you tap into with each other that we practice, because that's the big part, right? We have to practice until it integrates. And you're supported every step of the way.
I love that.
So,
And it's a
but
community, right? It becomes a
absolutely.
community of people who can support each other. And it really it speaks to the fact that I think that we are all a part of a one connecting family. When I
Absolutely.
saw that movie Avatar, the first one, not the second one, but the first one, I realized that, some of the methodology of the movie was the connection of the tree to everybody. So when you begin to understand that, yes, this is a vibration, and I know a lot of religious folks don't want to hear that, but when they don't understand that even in religion, when we pray, prayer was usually sung in the past. It was not spoken. And so the reality is there's a vibration that happens when you go, there's stuff that happens to you and happens to the environment around you.
Yeah.
And so we've got to be more open also to the mystical parts of our being, because they do exist.
Absolutely, they exist. And you get and the more you explore,
Yeah,
right,
that's what's happening.
into religions and into science, they're all saying the same thing. It's energy and vibration. It's a change of state. When we lose someone, it's just that we've lost them in this form.
Yeah,
It's still there
exactly.
because matter cannot be created nor destroyed. It just changes form. So you're going from mass to energy.
Right. Right.
That's the scientific part of it. And
Yeah.
we fail to apply it to us. We can see it in things outside of us, but we're part of that. Like you said, we're part of that tree of life.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, like getting in touch with how that feels in our body, and like you said, that connection of singing and raising that vibration you can feel it when you walk into a room.
Sure can. You sure can. And that
Absolutely.
vibration is so important. It's just like I was looking at Audrey's picture yesterday, friends and siblings, and I started thinking about our first encounter together, and it created something for me. There's a sense of joy in that. And I was looking forward. I had to be able to look forward to something. It's the same thing when I was thinking about seeing my granddaughter's face yesterday. It was looking forward. So again, we can spend a lot of time in our past, and many of us. Audrey has shared her life with you. I've shared pieces of mine where, from the outside looking in, it's brokenness.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. It's brokenness. But when you take the brokenness of your life and create this beautiful mosaic of I'm here. I'm perfectly made, like my little Mary Poppins pin. I always point to the wrong, wherever she is. There she is. The Mary Poppins pin, there's something, the reason Mary Poppins resonates with everybody, because we know she's not perfect. But when she says it with confidence and everything, then she begins to move into her perfection, which changes the lives for others.
Yeah.
It is this incredible thing that when you're changing the life for another human or living thing, because it's not just humans, but a living thing, you see there's a vibration of something that happens to you. And that's what Audrey is talking about. And I'm going to really invite you to just even go to the Grief Coach Academy page, website, and take a look at it and see what resonates with you, what pops off with you, and join a community if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to, join a community where you can learn new skills. One of the things, I'm at this wonderful season of life. The average life expectancy, according to the insurance policy thing, that's insurance actuary, is 78, 72, 78. Well, if I do the math, that means I don't have much time. Simple as that. But at the end of the day, it's not about the math formula and the balance that it gives me. It's about how do I live into each moment as if it is my last, so that I can enjoy each moment of my life.
Yes.
So hard to do, sometimes not possible, but when we strive for it, as Audrey is saying, when we shift our thinking, it happens more than it doesn't happen.
Absolutely. And you said something there about, we're always continually writing our story. And when we realize we're always continually writing our story and seeing that impact, because we're always having impact of those around us.
Absolutely.
How do we want our story to be read by somebody else?
Exactly.
And what is that, what do I want to leave? Because I'm in this too. Like there's this final third of your life where you look at and you go, okay, now what? Now, I've lived for my children. I've lived for other people. I've done all of this. Now it's time to really own my life. And I wish I would have known how to do this when I was 30.
Exactly.
Some people get it, it took me a little bit longer.
I wish I had, but I didn't get it then. I had to have a little bit more life experiences. I think somebody wrote something in the comments, but yeah, you've got to have, I had to have a little bit more. Let me see. Well, oh, this is so therapeutic, somebody says. And I need to forgive my brother. Yes. So it's all of that. It's all of that. Yeah.
But, there's videos on my website, griefcoachacademy.com. There's videos that you can sign up to get 5 videos for free, see what we're about.
Yes.
You can book a call with me. If you're interested in the next training that's coming up after the first of the year, let's get through this season.
Yeah.
And then we'll start anew at the beginning of the year.
I love it. And Audrey will come back. Audrey's going to become a regular on Life is a Sacred Journey because I know that we all hurt, right? I know that sometimes when I wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning and I question why I'm up at 3 a.m. in the morning, I soon realize it's because there's something I need to work on and I need the silence of that time of the morning, right? I know that these holiday seasons are chaotic and crazy and nuts, and people are telling you that you need to spend all your money so that somebody else learns to love you through you giving them gifts. Not true. The primary gift of life that you have to give to another human being is yourself. The openness of your heart, the openness of your spirit. And when you share that, there's no better gift. My daughter,
fully present. Yes.
no better gift being at my house baking. And it's our house. It'll always be our house, but she has her own place and she came and she baked yesterday. And we weren't even in the same room because I left the kitchen so I would get out of her way. But I knew she was there. I smelt her. I could feel her at the end of the hall. I walked down and I kissed her on the forehead and I just said, I'm so happy that you're here. And that's it. They don't have to be big, profound moments that, Academy Award moments, but they have to be moments where you are being sincere and loving to yourself and therefore giving it away. It is so important, my friends. And I know for those of you, Nancy, I know you're lost. I feel you're lost. I know what you are going through, and I send love to you. Sandy, I know what you're feeling. Audrey and you're a care partner and you're feeling lost. We send love to you. For all the people out there, Donna, the people that are on the website on here this morning, Donna Jones, all of you, Teresa Jiggets and Mother Jiggets who's struggling, was in the ER. This happened during a time of gratitude and Thanksgiving, but yet life does happen. And so Audrey and I join you. The Grief Coach Academy joins you in understanding that you are loved. And we may never see your face. I may never see your face. Some of you that will watch this later on down the road. Audrey may never see your face. We may never meet. But at the end of the day, we want you to know that you're loved. We want you to know that you're a part of a larger connection that is connecting us through this invisible wire called humanity and also just creation. And so if you're out there right now and you're feeling like life has no purpose, you have no purpose, and you're thinking about committing suicide, please call the suicide hotline number 988, and they will help you get through that moment, that second, that day, that week, whatever's happening for you. I know that I can't help you wherever you are physically, but I want you to know every day, I'm a prayerful person. I meditate. So I always meditate and pray on those of you who are my siblings that I can't see, but I know that you're hurting. So Audrey, any last words for our family out there?
Be gentle with yourself. Give yourself grace during this time. Take a moment to find your own connection, find your own center, and allow it to be what it is. And it's okay. Right where you are, it's okay. And then take a breath, feel what you need to feel, and become present. Become present to what is, because there's so many gifts. We've all lost so much. I know you have, I know I have, our community has. We are connected in our grief, but we're also connected in our life. And this life is beautiful and it has so much to offer.
It does. It does. So you know how in here, guys. Go out and hug a tree. It's a sunny, beautiful day here in California. I don't know what the weather is like across the world, but no matter what, go for a walk. Even if it's raining, as long as you won't blow away, go out and walk in the rain, jump in a puddle, sit in a puddle. You can go home and change your clothes. Who cares? Exactly. Just enjoy that spirit in you that represents life. Do something that for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, as Audrey said, 10 minutes, do something that is silly that somebody else might think, oh, what is she doing? She's too old to be doing that. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares?
Inside, I'm still 30.
All right. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. We'll see you next Friday here at Life is a Sacred Journey. I pray for all of you every day that you find that inner place, that inner peace that goes beyond understanding, because nobody will understand it. You'll never be able to explain it to anyone. But when you have it, they see it, they know. And so thank you so much to the Touch of Life Foundation for the wonderful award that you gave me last Saturday. I'm so undeserving of it, but I'm thankful for it. And I pray that I continue to be the kind of person that is a change maker in the world. And thank you for the recognition. I just have to thank you again. And everybody, be kind to yourself, as Audrey said. Give yourself a little grace. And we'll see you next Friday morning at 8 a.m. Don't eat too much. Don't eat too much. It's hard to do. I had two pieces of pie before I went to bed last night, but enjoy yourself. And that was my silly moment. It's like, whatever, I'm going to eat it. Audrey, thank you so much. Audrey White, who is the CEO of the Grief Coach Academy. Again, this holiday blues thing can be managed. And that's exactly what it is. You can manage it and then find a new peace, a new joy once you begin to practice. And we're going to have Audrey, maybe she and I will do a webinar on the peace process. We'll think about doing that maybe after the first of the year, or you can go to the Grief Coach Academy website and bring it to your organization or into your life. Where I'm having thoughts about bringing it to my church setting, just because we need to practice peace right now. All right. Peace. Friends, take care. Bye-bye.
Blessings.